All right, guys, welcome back to Downtown Rams. As always, I'm your host, Alexis Kraft, joined here with my co host, Jake Ellenbogen, and we are continuing with our 2024 NFL Draft Prospect interviews. And joining us on the show today, we have Brandon Coleman, offensive lineman from TCU. Brandon, thank you so much for being here. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. We'll start you off with an easy one and a different question, probably a question you've never heard before. If you had to compare yourself to any fictional character in any entertainment medium, who would it be?
Oh, that one is hard. Um, I'm trying to think of a good one here.
I meant easy,
There's
like
a
it's
lot
not
of them.
football. Obviously, it's a harder
I
question.
know it's hard because it's a broad spectrum. God, there's so many characters. I'm sorry, I'm blanking.
No, you're fine.
Yes, sir.
Take
With a
your
good
time.
question. I would probably say Patrick Starr.
Patrick Starr. Wow.
Yeah,
Why would you say Patrick Starr?
because he's pretty laid back. He goes with the flow. I wouldn't say my intelligence is a lot higher than Patrick's. I will say that. But like he goes with the flow. He has his moments of being, smart and all that stuff, and he's pretty laid back. Goes with the flow type of guy. So I would consider myself that type of person.
I like that. We've heard all sorts of different ones. Alexis, I think you dropped for a second. Brandon said Patrick Starr as the fictional character he would compare himself to because he goes with the flow. We've heard like Black Panther and Jon Snow and all sorts of them. So
Yeah,
it's just kind of an interesting question that just kind of kicks off the interview. It's something that I just kind of thought of, and I think I
uh,
honestly thought of it one day because I just saw like my Spider-Man mask in the background. I was like, you know what? I think
yeah.
that'd be an interesting question.
Nah, that question's dope for sure.
Appreciate it.
Well,
Mhm.
another non football related question, but what's a unique talent you have that not many people know about?
Unique talent. Mm, I don't know if it's a talent. Well, I can juggle. That's kind of like a boring one. I just recently learned that this past year, so proud of that one. But I think on that I know a couple other languages. Like I'm pretty good like picking up languages and stuff. So fluent in German, English, and then like a third of the way there with Japanese, but I'm still working on it.
Well, that's
That's
cool. So you have
impressive.
3 languages in your arsenal?
Yeah, yeah. Two and a half right now. Two and a half working on Japanese. So
No, you just say 3 because they're not going to test you. If you know
I
like
guess so.
two.
But if someone asks me to say something, I know I freak out. So I gotta say I'm working on it.
Oh man. So with that said, when did you start playing football?
I officially started my junior high school. Came in when I transferred. I moved from Germany, so not a big football country. Basketball player growing up, played for 12 years. So my dad always had like football in my like mind. Always went and ran routes. Had me like throwing the ball, all that stuff. So came in and started summer workouts, and then in the fall started in camp playing quarterback, and noticed that I didn't know anything about the sport. Like I always knew about football, but even then I didn't know like what a first down marker was, what the numbers were at the bottom of the screen when I watched like NFL. I didn't know anything, so I was like a deer in the headlights. I didn't throw one ball during my time at quarterback. So I like to say it because it sounds cool, but I never threw a ball in practice. But ended up playing D line my first year.
And did you watch the NFL at all? And if so, did you have a favorite player that you looked up to and tried to model your game after?
Yeah, my dad had like a little box that we're able to catch some games in Germany. He liked college more a lot than NFL, so we watched like both. But he always talked about Michael Vick, so that's kind of because he's like from where he's from, like Virginia, that area up there. So he always talked about him. But growing up, like I didn't know players, I didn't know sports, so I didn't really have anyone to model my game after. But once I started kind of playing the sport and watching more and actually knowing what I'm watching, I watch a lot of like Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, Trent Williams, players like that. Like players that are very dominant and have different aspects of their game that you can learn off of, which always makes it fun to watch.
No, that's awesome. And you start your college career at JUCO level,
Yeah,
Trinity Valley Community College,
that's right.
and then you transfer to TCU. What made you choose TCU? Because I'm sure obviously you were rated pretty highly coming out of JUCO. What made you choose TCU over some of the other schools that were pursuing you?
Yeah, so I transferred to TCU in the spring, so that fall is kind of my recruitment process. And TCU was the only official visit I took, just because it was like hour and a half, 2 hours away, so it wasn't that far of a trip during season. And when I got there, I mean, it was just the place. Obviously, is nice. Like TCU Fort Worth is like one of the best campuses I've been on. And then on top of that, the coaches, the players, they're very like honest with me. So obviously, they're like great. They have great hospitality. When I asked like, "What's practice like? What's going to be like when I come in?" Like they're like, "Well, I'm gonna tell you like it's going to be crap. Like you're going to feel like crap most of the time. Like it's hard practice, hard workouts." And I don't shy away from that work, and it was great to have like players and coaches, like both of them, just tell me how it's going to be and not trying to sell me on the school and like what it's going to be like in terms of like the food and like all the good stuff. But there's also, there's work that comes with that, and the fact that they opened up about that and also led with that was one of the big factors. And on top of that, it's like a 45-minute drive from where my sister and my dad are living, and that kind of mixed with the visit made it a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, I think that just the idea of having that proximity close to home, I definitely think that definitely helps the whole situation. I actually went to community college, wasn't a JUCO athlete at all,
Right.
but I think that's pretty cool that you came from that, because not everybody can say that.
Yeah,
Not everybody can say it. You have your own journey, if you will, and I think that's it's really cool.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And looking back at your time playing in college, whether it be JUCO or TCU, do you have any favorite memories that stand out to you?
Um, Yeah, I think there's a bunch of them. Probably favorite memory TCU was probably that 2022, that whole year. I think that was like the first year I truly bonded with those guys, the O linemen, the whole team. Coming in as a transfer, and I was like kind of a introverted guy. Like I knew like I was nice to my teammates and stuff, but I didn't hang out with anybody outside of like football because I was not like scared. But I just don't like to go outside like that. So that was kind of the first year where I really knew everybody. We bonded like we are brothers. And guys like Andrew Coker, the whole line. Steve obviously is like a brother to me. Um, and then the rest of them, Wes, John, we all kind of bonded. So it was great going through that year, going through like the ups and downs we did, the games that were like nail biters, the games where we played well and blew people out, and then going all the way to the national championship. Even though it didn't go the way we wanted it to, it was still a great experience to go there and experience with the team that we had, just because I've been there for a couple of years before then, and just knowing what they went through and what we worked towards this whole time that finally paid off to get to a stage like that was great.
No, that's awesome. You mentioned Steve. Don't know who that is that you're talking about. I'm just kidding, of course.
Yeah.
No, already a fan favorite in LA. Obviously, we're a Rams-based podcast, so
Yeah.
love the mention there. But how's your pre-draft process going for you? How are things going? How are you being treated? I know you're at the Senior Bowl. How'd that go? Just take us through that.
Yeah, I mean, the process has been pretty cool. Came off an injury, sadly, this past season, so just went to rehab, trained sports academy here in Frisco, and that was cool. Like it was us with like 18 linemen that are in this draft. Amongst them, like a bunch of top picks they're going to go in the first round, and just being able to be with those guys, see what they're really about, because you just see like that they're first round picks and all that stuff, and don't know what type of character they are, but they're like super cool guys, and it was a great experience to be able to train with them for 8 to 10 weeks, whatever we did. And Senior Bowl was cool. We had like I think how many, like six or seven of us that were there from that group that trained together. So going out there with those guys, knowing some guys that you train with, some friends, and being able to compete. The competition was great. It's the best players in the country basically, collegiate wise, and being able to compete against them for 3 days, meet with all the teams, being able to get your name out there, and made the experience that you have was cool. Leading into the combine, that was a great experience too. It didn't end the way that I wanted to, but up until the 40, obviously, I think I performed very well and was able to show off what I'm all about. And in the meetings I think I did a pretty good job being able to connect with those teams, and I'm thankful that I had those five formals that I had, and able to kind of get to know those teams better. I'm now leading to the draft. I feel like I'm in a pretty good space.
And you mentioned kind of all the talent that you were training with and got to be around at these events. You went up against a lot of really good talent at TCU too. Is there any guy that you played in a game throughout your college career that stands out to you as being one of the toughest guys that you had to face in real time?
Yeah, I think one of the best battles I've had was with Felix. I want to mispronounce his last name, but Felix from K State, number 91. He's with the Chiefs now. I always forget how to say his last name. I don't want to be disrespectful, but yeah, man. I mean, he's a guy that he might not have like the deepest bag in terms of moves, but he has good counters. He's a hard player. Like his motor never stops. And for 4 quarters, I know we're in the game, K State versus TCU, but it was like a battle of me versus him for most of that game. And there were times where he got me, times where I got him, and it was just always fun playing against him. Obviously, you have guys like Devondre Sweat, and Byron Murphy that are great. This year, I wasn't able to play against them because I was on the edge, but times where I wasn't signed, 2022, or the year before 2021, we battled against those guys, and it's just great competition, especially in those years where we have those big classes.
No, it's great. It's Anu DKU Zama, by the way. So,
Yeah, nah, I
yeah.
would have butchered that. So I'm gonna
No,
leave that to you. I'm gonna leave that to you.
I hear you, man. I actually have kind of an obsession of getting everyone's name right because look, I mean, it's your time to shine. It's this draft process. You only live it through it once, and it's like you just want to get everyone's name right. Luckily, you're just Brandon Coleman, so I can like know that
Pretty
name.
simple.
Not
Yep.
going to mess that up. I'd have to try to mess that up. It's not like Jake Ellenbogen. Everyone messes that up. Alexis Kraft, you have it easy. No one messes up that name. Well, someone
That's
will call you
True.
Alexa. I mean,
That's
is
fair.
that really
Yeah.
messing it up? I don't know, but
right.
yeah,
Little nickname.
yeah. With that said, going through college, you had kind of already alluded to this question, and you didn't know that we were going to ask it, but you've brushed shoulders with a lot of these guys, and you've become friends with them. So I was going to ask you before you started talking about that, who are some of the closest friends you've made during your time in college football?
Yeah, I think over the past 3 or 4 years, I was TCU, Steve and Andrew for sure. I talk to those guys every day, checking with Steve. So those are like brothers to me. The stuff that we went through, being able to play with them, learn from them, kind of took me under their arm when I transferred, and being able to compete is always great. And then this past year, Willis Patrick, guard coming out, TCU as well, grad transfer. Even though it was just a year, he's at that same level. We're able to bond pretty well, compete. The type of guy he is, the type of character he had in the workouts, and also translated to who he is outside the field. Very selfless and a great leader. So being able to be around those guys is always great, and you connect with those well.
And, looking at yourself, what would you say is your biggest strength as a player?
I think my biggest strength is my competitiveness. Like obviously, I have athleticism and power and strength that I use when I play. But being able to have like that competitive fire and never let up with that strength and that athleticism and those physical traits, and playing hard for 4 quarters, I think my biggest trait where I get a lot of guys in games.
And what would you say is, one trait or skill you're looking to improve upon the most?
Yeah, I think that's more technical. So there are things in pass pro, obviously, that I want to correct. Like getting out of my stance and getting set, being more patient with my punch in the run game, running through guys. There's some technique points that I learned in the off season that are completely different from what I was taught in college, which is nobody's fault, but just different ways of doing things and how to apply them at the pro level. So just learning from players, from coaches coming in the training camps, wherever I land, wherever I get a chance, and just applying all that stuff and growing is my biggest goal right now.
And this question is just kind of a fun question, but if you could go up against one person in the NFL, who would it be?
I have like one that's way up there. I'm gonna say I think it would be cool to go against like Miles Garrett. Obviously, that's like the best guy in the league, but you see all this stuff about what he does, and just being able to like go up against that yourself, like being able to see like and dissect what he does, like right in front of you, one on one would be cool. Obviously, it'd be probably the toughest battle I've ever fought in life, but that would be like one of the greatest learning experiences to learn from a fight like that. Being able to play with him and battle for a game, that would be awesome.
Yeah, imagine your first snap is against Miles Garrett. It's a good barometer of where you are. It's also probably a welcome to the NFL moment. Like,
Oh,
he might
100%.
get you on that first
That would 100% be a big
but
welcome to the NFL moment, but I'll be excited about it, even though I might I might look silly at some point. It'll be great to experience that.
of course. And we already mentioned that we're a Rams based podcast, so you knew this was coming, but have you met or spoken with the LA Rams yet?
I had some informal meetings with them at the Senior Bowl, but just a little bit. So it
A
was good.
little
It's
bit is
good thing though.
something.
Yeah, a little bit of something. So definitely be cool to play with Steve, but we'll see what happens.
I mean, not to put you on the spot, but the last tackle they drafted from TCU was Joe Nopum. He's still on the roster. There's two TCU guys in that offensive line room.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's awesome.
That is true. That is very true. They do like TCU offensive linemen
They
by
do.
That's
all
right.
indications. So, promising sign there. But this next question you might have heard before during the draft process, but we do ask it because people like the answer or to hear the answer. Do you love to win more or do you hate to lose more?
Probably hate to lose. Just like I said, that competitive aspect of me, like winning is cool, but just being able to not just beat the guy in front of me, but like beat myself. If I had a rep or whatever, just doing it better next time, and just go like getting one step better rather than one step worse is always my motive with things, and having constant growth in what you do. And with that comes not losing, not taking a step backwards, making mistakes. So yeah.
And who is Brandon Coleman as a player and who is he as a person?
Yeah, I think they're two different people. Like as a player, I think I'm very aggressive. I do like to talk smack at some point, but I just love to compete. Smack is not always like being mean to people, but like just lighting the fire on whoever I'm playing against. Because even though it might get them going, it's always a great battle to go against people like that and to make the game exciting. I'm a very explosive player. I use all the strengths that I have to my advantage in the game and use that for 4 quarters. On the other hand, like outside of football, I'm pretty reserved. Like I said, pretty laid back. Play video games with my guys. I don't really go out much, but play sports outside: basketball, bowling, golf. I try to like dabble in every sport that I can. Like to explore cultures. Like I said, trying to go to Japan at some point, like the next year or two, and just experience that culture. So, just trying to educate myself in the world and just play sports is mainly what I am.
That's awesome. Great answer, Brandon. We really appreciate you coming on the show. But before we let you go, we need to get some recommendations from you because we like to ask everybody who comes on the show to recommend
Oh,
us these four things and we write them down so we can check them out. So if you
for
could please
sure.
recommend us a movie, a TV show, a snack, and then an album or an artist, either one. This first
Okay.
one is a
Movie.
movie.
Probably my favorite movie right now. Probably my favorite movie is called Focus with Will Smith and Margot Robbie.
Uh,
I
It's a good one.
I'll probably rewatch it at least like 2 or 3 times every couple months. Just
oh
because I
wow.
like the story behind it. Like I be forgetting sometimes because I watch so much stuff, but then I forget about the movie and I rewatch and it gets me every time. So definitely Focus. TV show. Trying to think. because I'm watching a bunch of anime right now. Because Steve got me into that like 2-3 years ago, and ever since then I've been catching up on everything that's been released. And I've been dream dropping
Yes.
Steve, but he be putting me on all this stuff. So
Yeah,
I
Oh
would
man.
say,
well, I was just about to ask about anime because you
yeah,
mentioned that you were learning Japanese.
uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
that might be helpful in learning Japanese. So, do you have a favorite anime show that you can recommend?
Um, Probably recently. Obviously, Attack on Titan is good, but recently that I've watched is probably Demon Slayer. Has great like animation, fights are good, story's pretty good. So that's probably TV show. I'd probably also recommend Demon Slayer solid. Snack is more difficult. There's a lot of snacks out there that I would always eat. God, it might have to be a German snack though. Can it be like? Does it have to be like a snack, like a cereal bar or something, or can it be anything?
Anything.
Okay, something I will give as a snack. It's called a doona. It's basically like pita bread. You put like a garlic sauce, herb sauce in it, and then they have like lamb on like a kebab that they wrote like the wrote on the rotator, and they shave it off. Put some like lettuce in there, tomatoes, cucumbers. Um, if you want, you can put some fries in there too. But you just get it like it is. Some seasoning, some feta cheese. Costs you like $3 to $4 in Germany. Is great.
How
It
would you
doesn't
spell
cost.
that?
So it's D. I see reactivated, but so it's D and then the German letter U. It's like a O with two dots above it.
Oh, the umlaut.
Yep, the umlaut. And then NER. And then second word, so you can actually get it. It's KEBAB. Kebab. I think that's how you spell it.
Cool.
And then artist. Right now, I'm big into Tory Lanez. Let me look up his. I'm listening to his album right now a lot. It's called Playboy by Tory Lanez. I got that on repeat during the week, so definitely would check that one out. If you're into like R&B ish rap, like it's a good mix of both. So definitely give it a listen.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you right now. Focus stood out to me because I've never seen it.
Oh, you got to watch that. That's like the
So
top 3 movie of all time to me. Like newer age movies. I would
It's
definitely
good. I've
obviously
seen it.
there's the classics, but yeah, Focus is up there for sure.
yeah, I definitely have to check it out. I'm behind on the movie game. Like I still haven't
Yeah,
seen The Godfather and all those great ones. So did finally see Goodfellas. That's one of Alexis's favorites. So
yeah, I haven't watched
that.
that one yet. I got to catch up with some of the classics,
Yeah, see
but
So
that's
good.
the boat I'm in right now. I
uh-huh.
mean, I'll watch like a random movie and then I have like Twitter saying, "Why did you watch that and you still haven't seen The Godfather?" or something, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So it's like I'm just constantly under surveillance now that I let everybody know in the world that I've never seen The Godfather. Is what it is.
yeah, it happens.
Roadhouse, if you're interested, if you like Jake Gyllenhaal, he does a great job in the remake of it. But if you haven't seen the original, I just
Yeah,
watched that with Patrick Swayze. That's phenomenal. So
I might have to
I
check
would
it out.
I would check that out if you like action, a
Yeah,
good story. I'd say the story is
mhm.
more fleshed out with the original, but if you like crazy action, you like Conor McGregor, then the remake will definitely suit you as
Yeah.
well.
I saw the trailer. It looked pretty cool. I'm gonna have to check it out.
It's pretty wild. I'm not gonna lie. I thought Conor
Yeah,
McGregor did a heck of a job. I was not
all right.
expecting him to be that
Yeah,
good, but
yeah,
yeah.
sounds good.
Well, thank you for the recommendations. I know we've got those written down now.
Yep.
Jake took them down so we can check all those things out. But Brandon, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Big fans of yours. Hoping that you can get in a Rams uniform with your buddy Steve. That'd be really fun to see you guys playing for the Rams together. But if not, we'll support you wherever you go. Take care and stay healthy. About a month left now to the draft. It's coming up.
That's right. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, Brandon. You take care and stay healthy, man. We'll keep in touch.
Yes, sir. Thank you.